Come on for like an hour, see what we talking about, live and in color. See what we got tonight. See what we covering on bases tonight. See how everybody's doing Sunday night. So we are tonight. See if anybody's on here tonight. I decided to come on tonight, see what we gonna do. Might be some, see how people's weekend is going. See what we're gonna talk about. Let's see. See where we are tonight. See what we feeling and what's up? How you doing? How you doing? I got your comment earlier. You said I had a hot take. And I'm sure that Orlando got a chance. They got size. I mean, I'll be real with you. If they did beat Boston, I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't cry. I don't have a dog in the race in the East. After Miami's knocked out, I said it's Boston's for the take, for what they want it to be. I don't have no take. I would have no problem whatsoever. Because when you think about it, Boston's the only old guard that you got left. Everybody else is fresh. The Knicks are fresh. The Pacers are fresh. And Orlando would be fresh. Boston's the only old dog that's been consistent the past decade. So I wouldn't have no problem at all. So I have no dog in the race. If they were to get up and beat them, I wouldn't trip. Actually, that would be a nice win. That would be probably the biggest upset in the playoffs, if you want my honest opinion. That might be if Orlando was to go what he did. So you asked me the keys, right? He's able to play free safety because he can roam. You remember when you were talking about you gave him props for perimeter defense? Well, you nailed it. He's able to roam now. He wasn't always ever, movement like that. So now he gets out there on the perimeter. The problem is you're gonna hate me, Laker fans. You're about to hate me, Laker fans. That's why y'all suck. And that's your general manager who should have been fired, not your coach. You're gonna hate me because you didn't knock shots down. You want my honest truth? You want the honest truth? Like I like Jamal Murray a lot. He's and Michael Portis is bad, but that's all they got. If Jokic doesn't get off, they have nothing else. Aaron Gordon is like Draymond Green shooting threes. He has to get his meat and potatoes in the box. He's not an outside shooter. Well, guess what? If Jamal Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. don't go busting and KCP's off, they have nothing else. I'm going to make a strong revelation. I stand by what I said about Jokic being more LeBron than LeBron. And I say it why is this? He does get everybody involved. They don't have a legit third, fourth option. They got 3.5. But they don't have what you call another guy like Jamal who can get off and score their points. That's the problem that I see with them, if you must know. So one thing happens in this series is if Gobert can hit the perimeter and sneak up on the attack, and they don't really have anything to offset Cat. They have nothing like that. They have to play close to the vest. Jokic has to put up a triple double. He has to do a 30, 10, and 10 for them to stay in the game. Unless, of course, obviously Porter and Jamal come up, but Aaron Gordon got to have a special game. And KCP got to step up, and he hasn't looked good at all. They're lighting the cakes on the bench. So they got to find a way to get some easy buckets. To be honest with you, if you want my honest opinion, Michael Conley would be the best thing that the Nuggets don't have. I know Jamal does it, but they don't have a perimeter point guard. They don't really, you just need someone who will kind of set you up for easy buckets. That's the one thing. Because great as Jokic is, he has to play the point center. And one thing that's going to have a problem with this is one thing that they pointed to last night. He's getting sped up. There are no easy when they trap. Guys got to catch and make the shots. So, and see, this is how you play Jokic. You let him get triple doubles. Well, he really wouldn't have helped y'all out. That's not what y'all need. He would have been one part. First of all, y'all don't play a true man to the back to the bone. When I mean man to the bone, AD has to put his hind parts in the box. LeBron would have to put his hind parts in the box. Can't have your two bigs out fading and floating 20-foot shots. You got to get your butt in the glass. They don't play in the glass. So Michael Conley wouldn't be a good fit for y'all, unless, of course, y'all were playing traditional. That's why you got D-Low. Because D-Low's a tweener who will shoot them campy threes. He don't actually play point. That's y'all problem. Neither does Reeves. That's the problem y'all face. So if you actually made Anthony Davis stick his butt in the box, then yeah, it would make sense. That's why you don't do it. And Conley has to be a kind of point guard for a team that actually respects the low post. That's why. And you don't have the shooters Minnesota's got either. Because Cat can shoot that thing like that. You know why? Because they spared the tempo on him. That's why. They stay. There's this term. It's like in music. So if you listen to music, they talk about ghost notes. They put ghost defense on him. They stunned him like they were coming at him. He hurried. See, Cat and them can blitz him, force the issue, force him to have to pass and move. Now he still got his assists and he gets his stats. How do you beat Jokic? You want to know? You want Jokic to score 30 to 40 points. He's dangerous if he's 26, 27, 10, and 10. Yeah, because all he has to do now, he's got Ant, who they got guys who can then he can freestyle. That's what makes Gobert even more dangerous because now he's a free safety. He doesn't have to be relegated to just stick to a 4 or stick to a 5. He can come out on a 3. This style of defense that they play is dangerous because then suddenly if you're a ball handler and you're the main guy, you get worn out. That's what they do. They blitz him or they fake like they're running. That's called ghost. They ghosting him. So he has to jump. And the problem is those cats they don't have knockdown shooters. Yeah. But he's really showing it now as a free safety. At the ironic thing, he's playing better defense now because he's in a situation where he can cover more ground. It's not going to always come up in the stats, but it's blocking shots or it's causing turnovers. See, I watched his stat line last night. Six points, 13 boards, 2 or 3 blocks, couple steals. That's perfect. And if he gets 10 points, they're not going to lose. Remember that. If he can become a Jason Kidd 10-10 and say couple 2 or 3 blocks, couple steals, couple assists, oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, because he'll be integral part. Yeah, I think he still is. I think he still is, and I don't think his cadence he hasn't really looked that sharp for 4 quarters in any game that I've seen him. He's still dangerous in spurts, but he ain't dangerous like he can be dangerous. But the problem is that he runs into is that Oh, you didn't cook nobody. If anything, your stove is. I had to call the fire department to pull out the fire coming out of my end and T's end. The fire department was over hanging out with us because we rung the bell on you. You ain't cook nobody. Nobody gonna cook nobody if you slurping LeBron James. Let's get something straight. I can throw that back in your face because I'm a Miami Heat fan and I can tell you that those 4 years was his best of his career. You ain't cook nobody. Your house got burnt down. We still got our fine in our cribs, respectively. We were doing just fine, and we were talking about it. We talked about you, and I'm gonna keep it 100. Yeah, because I said, who the cat come out here trying to pop off like that? I said, because you weren't bringing no facts. You're not bringing no facts. As if, in a matter of fact, you look back, you look worse because watching this series, what I saw Minnesota do makes you look even worse because LeBron was a so-called facilitator and a ball handler and the name. He'd have figured out how to keep Anthony Davis fed. Ant scored 43 points. Anthony Davis should have had 40 in that game too. You blew a 20-point lead with the hot man who ended up with 33, who should have had 43. You win that game. And maybe it's a different series. So no, you're the one who got burnt. And KD got lit up because KD is older. He can't keep up with Ant. And he doesn't have the squad and he doesn't have the pieces because he's not the piece. Well, no, I think he's acknowledging the young guard. I'm not dissing him at all. No. Ant is him. Because remember, like Shaq said, 39 is not 29. And also, you got to remember something that um, 32 is not 22. It's a difference. Young boys is coming. And you gotta bring it to get it. So now he's acknowledging what I'm acknowledging. Ant is for real. Ant's for real. You know. I will say this. If someone drops some knowledge and they come on here and they say something, I will be the first to give it. Tell you I'm humble about stuff. I will give you your due, but you got to come with it. And how did it turn out? Did he get flushed on by a half moving guy? Even his teammate AD made that Andrew Bonham face. Remember when Blake Griffin climbed Paul Gasol's ladder and he was like, remember the face? Because that face of AD looking at the flex. What about that? And who hit the game winning shot? So much for your 32, 9, and 2. What does it matter if you still lose 4-1? Gentlemen's sweep. Thank you. That's what we're trying to tell you, Jay Will. And it hasn't really mattered since the bubble. And it really didn't even matter in the bubble because AD would have been the finals MVP if LeBron don't stat pad game 2. And he lost AD because AD was the best player until he got stat pad happy. I don't care. Did we talk about Tom Brady past 40 if he don't win a Super Bowl? We talk about him winning pandemic year in Tampa because he was 40 plus and he won. If he looked old that last Super Bowl he won in New England, and he looked old that last year when he lost that playoff game in the first round, and then he went to Tampa Bay. Do we talk about it? We only care if you win. Thank you. I know what Kobe did, but Kobe was past the pool date anyway. His last run was the Celtics finals in 2010 because when they lost to Dirk and them and he got hurt the last few years, it wasn't the same. And he remembers something. The guy had 17, 18, had 17, 18 years of mileage on him. But he had a no squad. He didn't have no Anthony Davis. Now, if you want to sit here and say, yeah, 2007 to about 2017 LeBron and his greatness and whatnot, I got that. And he ran those 10 runs of going for all that. I'll give you that. But that LA Laker run has not been memorable. A bubble ring and a Walmart dollar store banner, token church trophy don't count. When you got a better player than Anthony Davis and they ain't gone through 3 head coaches. And you are doing what exactly? And the teams in the NBA are getting younger, and you're not that good. Who had Shaq almost his career? You talking about Kobe? Okay, okay, and yes, thank you very much, Teddy. I just did that because I had to laugh at that foolishness. Um, yeah, and Shaq was the better player, and I'm not argue that because Shaq was more dominant and all that. However, Kobe did win with Paul Gasol, went to 3 straight finals with Gasol and stuff. And but they were all on the same team. Shaq came over the same time when Kobe was a rookie. Facts. Paul Gasol got traded, came over, but Kobe had already moved his point. Uh, Everywhere LeBron James either went through free agency, he had to have everybody teamed up. He didn't go to and win Miami until Dwayne Wade was already there and they got Chris Bosh. He goes back to Cleveland with Kyrie and they traded and got Kevin Love. He comes to the Lakers and then they get Anthony Davis. See how this all works out? You can't make that argument. The knock against LeBron is ready for made teams with proven talent. He sure did, and it didn't work. And I got much respect for Pat Riley for it to this day. Might not win no ring, might runner up, might not do that, but at least he stood his ground. Everybody doesn't want to sit around and have somebody tell them, I want you to do this and I want you to do that. Left up to LeBron, Spo and all the crew would have been gone. Would that have meant something? And he could have still walked. Because if Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot, Ray Allen said that LeBron was out of there. Because he can't take the pressure too long. But now he doesn't want to acknowledge Miami's impact on his career. He's sitting around talking about, oh, I would have been great. Even Shannon Sharp, his biggest pom-pom cheerleader, biggest stan who sleeps with LeBron pajama bedspread sheets, said, no, Miami, we're not talking about you in this kind of conversation. So, yeah, he did. He didn't make his teammates better. And for the record, Tony Parker was the finals MVP, not even Tim Duncan. Now, you're a ball handler. How did Tony Parker eat you up? And I remember watching that finals, and it looked like 4 games of 21. Tony Parker out hustled him, out moved him, out finessed him. Nobody wanted to be in the bubble. Nobody wanted the bubble. And remember, you had 4 or 5 months off, and you were well rested. The Nuggets were not the same team that they end up being now. We know that. So let's keep that 100. Um, Clippers have choked no matter what situation. Bucks got better, and the Celtics. They guarded him with 5 players because he didn't respect his ball handling skills. They moved around. He couldn't shoot. Popovich's game plan all the way to the 2013 finals was he can't shoot outside. Let him shoot the three. Remember game 6 till he started making the shot with consistency. He was not respected as an outside shooter. Bring the facts. You want to cook something, bring the facts. He wasn't respected for his perimeter shooting. Ain't got nothing to do with no 22 years okay. Magic Johnson led a team to the finals and won. Tim Duncan was 22. He went in finals and won with some Spurs. I'm not gonna give you if you're gonna represent, there's no excuses when you get to the show because it took hard work to get there. So you got to figure it out. Stop firing all your coaches and running your squad. I know about Murray. Murray was bad then. He scored a lot of points, but he wasn't as focused. He wasn't. He didn't have the killer instinct. They weren't the team that they were. Okay, let me address this real quick. 22 is grown. Some guys have got it. And let me address this real quick before, because all these turkeys come in here. Let me get back on it. 22 is grown. Magic led the Lakers when Kareem got hurt. I saw it with my own eyes. It's not about your prime, it's can you win? Tim Duncan won his second year. It's not about your prime, can you win? Some guys get it, some don't. Depends on your coach, your system, but it's your will. Okay. See, you got to do your history before you come in here and pop off. Wes Unseld was a rookie of the year and an MVP. Now, just like Ichiro in baseball with the Seattle Mariners was a rookie of the year MVP. Come on now. I know what Jamal Wilkes did, but Magic played all five positions. Let's speak on that. Did Robinson and Elliott do anything before Tim Duncan got there? Did they see a finals before Tim Duncan? Yes or no? How did Duncan do with Rodman against Elijah and the Rockets? He led his team. He didn't have to have no Dave Robinson. He had a good enough team to get to the finals, now didn't he? But when he started winning titles, he had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. When he won in Cleveland, he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And when he won with the Lakers, he had Anthony Davis. Now sit here and tell me that Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis aren't Hall of Famers. Tell me that with a straight face. Please do. And he got beat by Orlando team with a 60-plus win team. But he had his owner say he quit on his team. CJ, well, you want to cook? You about to get filet mignon. You about to be like Richard Pryor down the street, free basing. You want to get free base? There we go. He was 4 years in. He's not no goat in my eyes. He's one of the greatest players, top 10 level. But no, he had 4 years. He had the keys. He beat Detroit, which I will give him his due. However, he didn't have the mental mindset until he got with Dwayne Wade. Ain't nobody hard on him. Because, see, I will talk about anybody. Jordan's pet peeves, well, he was cold. I think that the biggest knock is that, sometimes not utilizing certain aspects of your team. He did, he tried to. But it was more about how his attitude was with certain things, but can't find a lot of pet with him. I mean, sometimes he could turn some people off, but I can't find. I mean, most of it's on the personal stuff, not so much on his playing. Sometimes they gave him a bit more in some ways, but he was very fundamentally sound. Only thing he got away with palming the ball, which LeBron does all the time, bunny hop, but he palmed a lot. It makes no difference. You were a 60-plus win team. You can't eliminate that fact. Allen Iverson had even less than Mo Williams. We gonna sit here and act like Mo Williams was less than Pookie Snow? They lost to a Detroit Pistons team. And I'm gonna say this again, historically great, 3 straight finals. Isaiah Thomas ain't nothing to sneeze at. Yes, he was. He went against a Detroit Pistons team that won back-to-back, that went to 3 straight finals. You never. I'm gonna put it to you like this, Jay Will Joshi. You get cooked once and for all. And yes, thank you, Ted, about 2011. As a Miami Heat fan, oh, I heard all the jokes. 3 quarters and 1 short of a dollar. I heard all jokes. So I don't want to hear no turkey coming telling me about, oh, how I'm coming down on LeBron. Let me tell you a story to educate you, because I don't know how young you are, but I'm gonna put this in perspective for you. There's no way that LeBron would have gotten by those Piston teams, those bad boy Piston teams. He wasn't as skilled as Michael Jordan. And if Jordan got hurt and got physical, oh, he would have folded like a chair. And you know how LeBron play acts. He never would have gotten by them. Not to mention, Isaiah was too much of a handful to guard. Thank you, Ted. 10 years ago, because I remember after game one. And as a Heat fan, I remember Ray Allen did that coast to coast dunk, and I was like, wow, I didn't know Ray still could spring like that. The cramps came, he fell. I guess the steroids came out after because he hasn't cramped since. And ain't you supposed to cramp up more as you get older with your dietary? But what had happened? Yeah, what happened? Got his butt ate up in the finals. I know D Wade looked old and Bosh looked busted. And I know they got beat on the bench and hustle and perimeter and all that. I know that. I'm not even gonna and I'm not gonna say LeBron didn't have some moments, but he was not sharp. He got outplayed. But they still had a chance to win game one. And they did win game two. And actually D Wade came up big in game two. But what happened in Miami? He was getting older, but that's not what it was. And LeBron left him for dead. 4 straight finals, 2 out of 2 and 2 left him for dead. To go back to the massa. I hope he do sue me. Cause he owes Miami a ring, so please sue me. Cause I'll say it loud and clear. 2011, he owes Miami a ring. He was horrible. That's the worst so-called superstar performance in a finals where you should have won. So was he in 2011. What's your point? As a matter of fact, they did him a solid because he let him down in 2011. And he almost let him down in 2012 until he put the mean mug face against the Celtics and put his head down and came up in game 6 and 7 because he was looking pretty shoddy. And you know, when you're going to talk this LeBron talk, you got to keep it 100. That's a fact. I never said otherwise. However, he never had Jerry Buss come out and say Kobe quit on my team. Now, please give me that exhibit A. Please do. Where they burn your jerseys. Oh, he still averaged 20. LeBron couldn't have done that against that Pistons team at that time. Yeah, because what happened was the Kobe over dribble, Tayshaun in the perimeter with Chauncey, and they were face guarding him. As a matter of fact, they did to Kobe what the Timberwolves did to Jokic last night. They stunt ghosted him. Yeah, I know how bad he was. I know. But they also had a better team. And once you let Shaq get off, you kept Fisher locked. Gary Payton was getting ate up by Chauncey Billups, which is the point you don't want to miss. So you don't want to talk about that convenient part that Chauncey Billups was tearing him up. He didn't have what we call, he had some hit and miss final shooting in some of the finals, but he was still more of a lethal weapon than LeBron was. And he sure as heck wasn't sitting up there making faces like LeBron did or called a quitter. You can sit here and talk all you want. You will never get out of the fact that an owner of LeBron James's team called that man a quitter and put that out there. Now, let me see. He wasn't a brick. You think he dropping that heat, huh? How about him coming up clutch when Shaq got in foul trouble against the Pacers in the first finals? Okay. Now I admit 2010 against the Celtics, he didn't do much for me. 6 out of 24. I know that last game, game 7. But the Orlando finals, he looked good in. And he led the team. He led the team. And let me ask you a question. So, especially that last 3 years with Paul Gasol and Andrew Bynum and Lamar Odoms, let's just get to this. Are any of those guys Dwayne Wade worthy? Are any of those guys Kyrie Irving worthy? Are any of those guys Anthony Davis worthy? I know. But he came up big and he had a big moment in. No, I want him to talk because he ain't said nothing troll worthy. He just hating worthy. There's a difference. He's not. I'm gonna let him talk and let him cook because he'll set his own self up because he's not bringing any facts. He's trying to downplay Kobe, which is cool. It's cool, but he's gonna end up doing himself in though. He hasn't said anything offensive per se that I would have to pull that button on him. I just don't like his one-sided argument. Oh, they all do. They all do. Nick Wrong does it every day. Keyshawn does it every day. Shannon Sharp does it every day. I mean, that's part of the media. And I still haven't heard that what LeBron has done, like you're gonna sit here and say this stuff. He's not gonna even talk about the fact that Dan Gilbert. I'm not listen, I'm not attacking you personally. And I'm not gonna touch what Seth and them say because I'm saying if you're gonna come after Kobe and say this, you're gonna have to hold a LeBron, you're gonna have to have LeBron James. I'm not attacking, and I don't only bet. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm going to say this to you. You got to acknowledge 2009 against Orlando. You got to acknowledge 2010 that you got called a quitter against Boston by your owner. 2009, you choked against Orlando, and you should have faced Kobe and them in the finals, and you came up short. 2010, you got accused of quitting on the Celtics with Delonte West, and your owner called you out. And 2011 against what's happening, time? And 2011 against the Mavericks, you got caught for being 3/4 and a quarter short of $1. 3 straight years with 3 top-tier teams. Okay? So, what I'm going to say, Jay Will, is this. You can't explain that away. Because I didn't disprove facts. Orlando, 2009, Boston Celtics, 2010, and the Dallas Mavericks, 2011. You can't explain that away. You can't explain away um you can't explain away 2015 game 4 in Cleveland, 2-1 lead. And you came up short, LeBron. Oh, you think I forgot about that one? You think I forgot about that one? He ain't say nothing about KD. I'm waiting for. Oh yeah, Jay Will. Yeah, what's your KD argument now? Please do. I want to hear this one. No. Did he win a 60? What happened? Why would an owner say that you quit on your team in 2010? Why? Make it make sense to me. See, your argument. No, I'm gonna get 2009. I'm getting 2010 and 2011. And 2011 is even worse because it's the finals and it was winnable. Why is he overrated? Because he's a bus driver now? Because he can't make Devin Booker better and Bradley Beal, and he can't really he couldn't do it with James Harden and Kyrie? Why is he overrated now? I'm gonna get 2009, 2010 with 2011. But 2011 is more embarrassing because it's the finals. And he sucked. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. You got to talk about 2009 against Orlando. Where you gonna get traded to? Traded to who? Where? Where? Milwaukee. Can you trade him for Damian Lillard? That would be a fair trade, and I think Booker with Giannis would be a better move. Booker, Giannis, Middleton, Portis, and Lopez. I think that'd be a better move, actually. Or Booker goes to New York. Yeah. Or he goes to Philly. And before you say it, no, he wouldn't go to Miami because you got to have a point guard and someone that would put that team in check. Booker's only effective if he's got somebody that's playing the perimeter that can. They did because he's one of the greatest scorers, and when his career's over and he stays healthy, he's going to score 30,000 points, and he's got, you know, he's borderline where he would be, but if he keeps getting knocked out like this, um, they try too hard to appeal to something that's not there. You're never gonna win. It's like the big bad wolf. Try as you might. You can't blow the house down. They're never gonna win. And they make it a point and a habit of doing things. I just got me a story that just was pushed along. I'm doing a video tomorrow about a buck dancer who happens to have a black family too. And I'm gonna really light in his butt tomorrow. Cause I was like, okay. Not surprising though. Crazy story. Rick Barry make a strong case. Dr. J make a strong case. I'm just saying. I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking into it because they need a scorer. And so it's not exactly far fetched. But the problem is what do you give up for him? And do you want to give up that stuff for him? And see, analytics says it's a touchy subject. I have Dirk in my. Dirk is probably somewhere in the 13 to 21 range, somewhere in there. I do think Dirk was more impressive, only for the fact the way he won, and he was more dominant. He was a leader. So if I go by that aspect, I got him over him. I think Bird is his versatility is underrated. He could go behind his back. He could do whatever he took. You gotta remember he was going on the finals against a Laker team that was running people off the court, and he figured out how to hang with them. That's a heck of a skill set for a guy that's considered a slow white potato man. Not bad for a white boy with two left feet and no real wheels, but he could shake you. That's got to count for something, right? Just saying. If I'm wrong, I'm buying. Well, yeah, because he was seen as like a potato head. Because you remember how Kobe said, "Who this slow moving white boy?" And it was like, and that potato was bumping cats. You can make that argument. You can make that argument. You can make that argument. He don't get no love, but like that. But you can make that argument. Well, I'm not the. I don't know. Well, him and Charles Barkley can make a case. Yeah, he is, because he Bubby too. He wasn't lying. Bird grew up loving brothers who played in the ABA because he played street ball. He is a potato. See, now I done started something now. But them potatoes be dangerous. They can ball, can't they? There was a black potato because it's kind of like an old man show. That's Paul Pierce. Hit an old man potato move that worked. Tear your behind up with that shot. Yeah, probably so. I don't even talk about off the court. Do you ever hear me bring up personal in here? I mean, if we talk about a singer or an actor or something like that, a comedian, you'll get that. We don't talk about. I mean, we do side dishes on people, but I don't really make it a habit of going there. I don't make it a habit. Besides, David Stern swept that underneath the carpet. You notice they don't say nothing because Adam Silver. Because again, Karl Malone ain't rubbed the wrong white people the wrong way. Some know it, some care, some don't. No one cares. That and plus he was poor white trash. But see, the thing about it is he was respected for his game. That's what's up. You think you cooking. I like delusion. You need some drugs and some medicine. You up here thinking you cooking. You ain't cooked nothing. Now, see, I'm cool because I didn't think that you married no deletion or nothing because you trying to, but you see, your conversations to me are one sided. You can't argue against me saying 2009, 2010, and 2011, and that game four in 2015. I bring the facts, I got the receipts. See, you ain't cooking nothing. Look, I think LeBron, great player, also one of the most overrated too. And he, you can't get out of the fact of Dan Gilbert. So you can think you are. Yeah, time. We talked about it. What Rudy Gobert is playing free safety. So what they do, uh, he's Jay Wills in here thinking because he bring up this slurping LeBron that he's cooking us in the conversation, and we tell him you ain't even close. You're undercooked. If anything, the food is mildewed and thawed. Um, Jokic is getting ghosted by Gobert because they don't have a knockdown shooter. So if Jamal Murray and Portis ain't knocking, and Aaron Gordon can't knock them shots down, they can stunt him. They can force him to pass the ball, move him. That's what they're doing. That's how you. And the one thing with Jokic is this: you want him to score 30 to 40 points. He's at 25 to 27, and he's doing that 10-10 thing. He's beating you. You want him to actually score more than he does. I don't know if they would have gotten destroyed. Okay, I'm going to address this. LeBron had a chance to beat that Golden State team, and he was up 2-1, and he choked game four. That's the worst game he had at that finals. He was balling, but he didn't finish. Makes no difference. Makes no difference. LeBron's the one who started the super team teaming up. So Kevin Durant couldn't beat him. He joined him. I had no problem with Durant joining. You never heard Kobe crying about people joining up, or Jordan wouldn't complain, or Shaq would. None of them would have complained. LeBron started it. Every time something doesn't go LeBron's way, he got us finds a safety net for other people. Yeah, and that same J.R. Smith choked that game by running backwards. He pulled uh, uh, oh God, the football, Jim Marshall. Remember Jim Marshall ran the football the wrong way, 70 yards? That's what J.R. Smith did. LeBron had Steph Curry on the hip with 10 seconds. He had a fadeaway shot and he didn't take it. Why didn't he? Why didn't he take it? Oh wow, he was so tired. Ain't everybody tired by the time you get to the finals? You know. See, you always got cops and pleas, but you can't bring the obvious of when I say that LeBron's got holes and he's got question marks. Can't argue. I don't think he choked in 2012. I just think they couldn't finish. I don't think he choked per se. I think there was a couple plays here and there, and I think a couple things just didn't go right. I don't think he choked per se. I think that when you go to a finals, you have to be prepared. And he did make up for it against Golden State. He more than made up for it in Golden State because let's keep it 100. LeBron could not mess with that dude. Remember in the MVP season when Durant won MVP in 2014? Durant stood him up, beat that butt in Miami. He looked great that year. And then in the finals with Golden State, he definitely more than came back with vengeance. he stepped up and he was finishing shots and he looked unstoppable. So can't sit there and say that because he came up big. Do you realize the teams he went up against? Do you realize how deep the East was back then? Jordan came into the league when the Sixers were still pretty good. The Celtics were great. There was no beating Boston. Yeah, and what happened against the Knicks with the Phantom call? What happened? How did he do in 95? Crying on the sidelines, pointing for Jordan to come back because he was stinking it up. Remember when Scotty hit that game-winning shot against the Knicks? Oh, never mind. It was Tony Kukoc. Never mind. Let me stop making sense because you think you cooking. How am I being a bit of a hypocrite? Boston was better. Ain't no excuse. Oh, let me let you on a secret since I don't know how yours. I'm gonna put it like this. LeBron gets not out of the East with going against that Celtic front court and those Pistons teams. It took Jordan 7 years to break through. It'll probably taken LeBron 17 years. Those were men teams then. Oh, and by the way, buddy boy, I don't think he would have beaten those Pacer teams in 94 and definitely not that 98 Pacers team in the playoffs or the Utah Jazz in those two finals. I don't think he would have. No, I don't think you remember. The 95 team, they didn't look that good. And the thing was, Scotty was crying for Michael Jordan to come back. And how many rings Scottie Pippen got without Michael Jordan, especially when Jordan was prime peak? How did Scottie Pippen do with that Portland team in 2000? How did he do with that Rockets team? Mr. Leader. Yes, you bringing up some points, but did his teams go to the finals? What did he do? None. Didn't need to because they didn't win without Jordan. And the Pippen factor was the second banana, but he was never the top dog. See, that's the point I want you to understand. He was never top dog. He needed Pippen to step his game up. He wasn't old and shot with Portland. He didn't fit. Let me educate you on this one. With the Rockets, Charles and him and Elijah were past the pull date. That's a fact. But his style didn't fit in Houston. It didn't work. He goes to Portland. They were up in that series. 15-point lead against when Shaq was in his peak in his prime. Let me drop this bomb on you. If he beats Shaq in his peak and prime, a 67 win team and Phil Jackson in the first year, that's not a dynasty, maybe. And then he beats the Pacers, wins the ring against Larry Bird, coach Pacers against Reggie Miller. Scottie Pippen's a top 5 player ever. It didn't happen. Now he's somewhere in the 35 to 45 pile. You see how that changed history? And he wasn't the leader. You stick to basketball. I'm giving you a chance to you keep talking names, you got to stick to the points. I think his underrated skill was well, we knew about how versatile he was. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Mr. Stanton, it's called an opinion. We're all entitled to it. And I might be considered bugging, but you know what? I'm gonna say it. You don't have to like what I said, but the thing about it is this. Anthony Edwards showed me something already. He showed a leadership as a young man. And I'll take that. I'll take that. I'm going to stand by it. Don't let Anthony Edwards lead them against the Nuggets. Then what's going to be your rallying cry then? Don't let him go and win the Western Conference chip and go to the finals. What you going to say then? Because I'm going to make a point to you. Kevin Garnett wasn't exactly taking his teams deep in the playoffs for a while. I'm going to keep it. I don't care who don't like it. He ain't looking good. He looking like when Michael Jordan comes out and give you praise. That's why I made that video. You don't like it? Take it up with Michael Jordan. I will address it. I said what I said. This kid is the truth. He played defense. Did you see that block last night? Fadeaway shot too. Can shoot a perimeter. Can shoot a three. Clutch. Defend. Makes his teammates better too. He wasn't that bad. He came up with some big plays in that game 7 against 7. The woulda coulda doesn't make no sense because Kobe was big time. I don't think it's too soon. Sometimes you can tell. I'm not one of those. I'm one of those kind of people. I don't need 5, 10 years. I can tell. When Patrick Mahomes won his first ring, I had already called him a top 10 quarterback ever. You can look at my old videos. I did. I'm not one of those kind of people that need 3 or 4 fights. Some guys just give me that vibe. If you still think I'm wrong after what you see Anthony Edwards a couple years, let me know. But I'm not going to retract. I feel he's already. I feel he is already. He does multiple things and he's a leader. And the reason why I can say this verbatim, a 3-time defensive player of the year like Rudy Gobert looks comfortable. Rudy was considered a big old goofy, a goofball. And Cat was considered tender vittles, like a Twinkie. They got them guys looking like they are looking like twin towers. They own to something. Kobe made some bad play, but he was a clutch player. He came up big. He came up big. And he came up in a point where he made big shots. He had the respect. So you got to come up with that. Um, about Shaq, I thought it made sense. He led Atlanta to a finals. You could tell he was going to be a special player. I'd say surprising. I wouldn't say shocking. I said surprising, not shocking, because he was a turning point kind of player. It's potential. See, the same people right now have an issue with me talking about Anthony Edwards better than KG. Be the same people have an issue with me saying Shaq was a top 50 player then, because you could see the potential. You could see the trajectory. You knew there was something special about this guy. I don't need, like I knew when Kobe Bryant, I said, I saw it. When I saw Dwayne Wade, rookie year Miami, I said, I saw it. Patrick Mahomes, I saw it. Randy Moss, I saw it. I've seen guys, Tiger Woods when he won the Masters, I saw it. I could tell. Barry Bonds when he played, I saw it. Roger Clemens, I saw it. There's certain people I just see things. Steph Curry, it was a game against the Lakers. It was 2011 when Dwight Howard was there, and he missed this long shot. But Dwight Howard looked at him, and it was a certain look, and I saw it. Kyrie, the handles. I didn't see him necessarily winning a lot per se, but his skills, oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're guys, I don't need a body of work to say this guy is that. It's like when Bobby Knight said it about Michael Jordan. He saw it. Sometimes you just see it. Well, Shaq was only going to get better. And that took. And so I saw it coming. I wasn't surprised because he was going to be that dude. He wasn't going to be no bust. So you can see that coming. Um, I saw Jokic being really good. I didn't see him being like this. This came because it kept adding on. Giannis, work in progress, became greater. Kawhi Leonard, I saw it coming, and he had a moment. Sometimes you get these right, sometimes you get it wrong, but sometimes, usually, when you get it right, you get it more than right. But it's special kind of players. They have to hit you a certain way. I don't just put this out there to be putting it out there. I really believe Anthony Edwards is that dude. And I watch the body language of how he's got these guys circling around him. That's why I'm saying that. You see. Well, Penny injury prone, but the problem is, I'm gonna tell you, Orlando was too country, too white, too backwards, and they didn't give him a coach that could challenge him. If you really want to know, he does. I'm not gonna say that, but I'll say this: it could have been a factor. Yeah, Orlando's too country. But the most stiff old white boys in that in Orlando were not. They was the guy who owned the Magic was Amway. Okay, and they weren't. And Jerry West came along like a city slicker and said, "Hey, you want to make some money? Can win? Get you out this sticks. Let's go to L.A." What do you think? Yeah, it was too country. It didn't take a genius to figure out you win in LA, you a superstar. You win in Orlando, you in the back roads. And Shaq had a larger than life personality, so that was a no brainer. Yeah, sometimes um let me think. Who can I pick on? Let me think. Who can I pick on? It's kind of like it doesn't make no difference. It wasn't the same. It didn't carry the same romanticism as Miami did. It didn't. You go to La La Land, sometimes it's not the same. Disneyland carries. Let me say this: in the NBA, especially when David Stern ran it, and where you were made a difference. You went in LA and New York or somewhere that's or Miami or something like that, you get treated differently. That's a fact. I'll put it to you like this: if Tim Duncan had a one in New York, he'd have his face plastered everywhere to this day. One in San Antonio doesn't carry that same romanticism. Just a fact. People don't want to hear the truth because they think that the NBA is all fair and it's not fair. No, he wasn't. Um, Dan Marino was. Dan Marino was the first mega superstar. Shaq promised the ring to come there, which he did, and he was large in life for his NBA. But Marino was big in football. That's the difference. Now Shaq surpassed him with body of work. Okay, with basketball, yeah, I give you that. But yeah, yeah, stand correct. Or you got to come correct when you bringing it because you can't say all that. And remember, football was still king in Florida, yo. Football was king there. Yeah, I'll give you that. That whole thing, I remember watching it as a kid. I remember watching Dave the Busher acting like he was surprised and David Stern with the magical balls spinning. And I'm like, yeah, good and well, Lenny Wilkins ain't gonna get no Patrick Ewing. Not for 15 years till he came to Seattle, 20 years after the pool date. Well, everybody in New York was gonna get that. The Magic, yes, not the Heat. He was a big free agent signing for the Heat, yes. As a free agent signing and what he represented. But Dan Marino was the bigger first mega. If you're gonna go professional, you got to come correct with that. Marino was bigger. I remember. There's a lot of them near to it. A lot of them. O.J. Simpson to Reggie Bush to old school. Earl Campbell, Dorsett, old school. Eric Dickerson. I like the older ones. That's when it used to matter, and I have to keep it like that too, because a lot of cats win it. It don't really mean much, especially a quarterback. How many quarterbacks? The last one you remember won a Heisman Trophy and he turned out to be something in the NFL? Barry said, "Yeah, old school, old school." But like I said, old school, because it don't carry much weight with these quarterbacks. Yeah, I like Cam. He should be a Hall of Famer. But I said old school predominantly. You can throw names all you want. I like Cam. Some people may think he's a borderline Hall of Famer. Depends on how you look at it. I think he gets in. So it all depends on how you look at it. But when you mention Sanders on back, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We don't talk about scrubs and never would's that won it. So before someone mentions Tim Tebow. So yeah. Don't say nothing wrong. Please don't say no names that you know you'll cringe. He was screwed. I was there 40 years ago. He had to go to Canada to play ball. He went to Canada the same year Moon was coming over. Had a strong arm. Cat could throw crazy spiral. Just it's unfortunate when I think about how racist the NFL was because I remember. I remember how black quarterbacks. Yeah, like I said, I don't mention no bones. I don't do scrubs. That's why exactly when I said that's why Ted asked the question. I really didn't want to answer because I only like it with he was. I know you're talking about. He had some, but it wasn't all his fault. It wasn't his fault for a team to blow a 32-3 lead. Now, he put Houston in contention to beat the Bills in 92. That wasn't his fault. Sometimes the defense don't come up. And I hold Warren Moon in high regard too, by the way. So give Warren Moon the same opportunity as you did his white counterparts, we're having a different discussion. He came into the NFL his rookie year right between Montana and Marino for completions. Okay, I gotta do football. So if I gotta do football, I gotta put my thinking cap on. Uh Mobility. That's all. Mobility. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to basketball because that's why I got heated. I don't want to let I ain't want J. I don't want to let J. Will off the hook. I want to get back to this NBA stuff. That's something I'm gonna say about Moon. His mobility was underrated. He could have been better with an opportunity. You better quit while you're ahead. Because I lived in Houston and I remember when Moon came to the Oilers and I remember all the problems he had to go to get there. So better quit while you're ahead. He wasn't as first of all, he black quarterback. Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. And he didn't have a Bill Walsh for a head coach. There was no Roger Craig type of back. More Earl Campbell got dealt and was done. Could you imagine Warren Moon with an Earl Campbell? You want to go football? Give him Earl Campbell to work with. Dave Casper is a tight end. Robert Brazil, Great Bingham at defense. When they had Dan Pastorini who couldn't carry Warren Moon's mustache. Well, thank you, Carlton. Even though you disagree with me about Ant and Garnett, I appreciate you. I did too. And Randall was nice. He was a bad boy. That came after Moon. Came after Moon. Different type of quarterback. Different type. Precursor to Michael Vick in some cases, not quite, but style wise, but different type, different situation. Ant's got remind me of quite a few guys, but he's putting me in the frame of mind of the best. Appreciate you, Carlton. What I'm gonna say about that is this: I only do it after game one because I gotta watch, just like I did with the Nuggets and the Mavericks. When I break it, the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. I gotta break it down. Yeah, I heard about that. I gotta break it down what I see, and then I can give you. I don't want to say a pre because I gotta see what they do together against each other. Appreciate you saying that, Carlton. I have to see the pros and cons on both teams. Now, I will say this since it's the live stream, I'll give you this much. Because Ted asked me yesterday about X's and O's. Uh, what's up, Rich? This is what I'm going to say. The Pacers got to find a way to play some defense, and they got to find a way to make the Knicks play team ball. If Brunson eats them up like he did Philly, they're going to get ate up. And the Pacers don't play no defense. The reason why the Pacers are in trouble, uh, I'm going to address that in a moment. Since you like to troll on that, I'm going to address that. Um, Pacers got lucky against Milwaukee, basically with Pat Bev in the background was doing it. He wasn't in his pocket. Stop that lying. I'm going to address that. So hold your horses. I'm going to address that. He wasn't in his pocket. Pascal can be a defensive problem. The Pacers have to figure out a way to have all their. If they score in unity, then they give the Knicks the problems. They may win. But Tyler got to be big. The problem with the Sixers didn't win is that Embiid and Maxey didn't get no help. That's it. You get 10 each from Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre, you win the series. So the Pacers have to figure out how to score. But the problem they run into is the Knicks can play defense. They got to figure out a way how to turn that over. So if I'm the Pacers, I have to have my bench step up. I have to get productivity. And I have to make the Knicks become a two-man team. That's the only way. And Hart can't get off. They got to make sure the Knicks don't get off and don't defend them and tight. They have to turn it into you can score more, I can score more series. That's the only way the Pacers beat the Knicks. If it's a half court slugfest, the Knicks win. Pacers have to make it high up at the ante. Now, Jay Will, let me address that. I can make the case that Rodman won 2 games in that finals, but Jordan still averaged 27 points a game. He still was coming up with some big plays. So that might be the one finals where I say you can make a case that Rodman could have been a co-MVP with him. I'll give you that. But the glove wasn't in no pocket because the glove wasn't consistent. And the Sonics, even though Sean Kemp was probably the third best player on the floor that series, they relied on long shots, back taps with Sam Perkins. They did not play. They tried to pull what Houston did. They tried to pull what a lot of you see today going on, except they didn't have no Jim McElwatt. McElwatt sucked at the center, and Robin got in his head, stole 2 games. They got our hustle. It was an ugly series. Kukos, Ron Harper, Pip, and Jordan, all of them defended them on the perimeter, and they were no match in the box. And so when you're playing long shot, 3-point ball, back taps, and you're not really attacking and you're not getting any hustle points, how is someone in your pocket? George Karl put him there after the fact with Nate McMillan and them, who do play good defense on the perimeter, but they did not have the firepower and they weren't coached well in that series. They got overwhelmed and beat. It was a good defensive strategy. The Sonics didn't have no offense. Byron Scott wasn't no chump. Uh, and what's your point? He still lit up Phoenix's behind, put up 40 plus Berg on them. Charles Barkley said that was the best player on the court. He said he never deferred. The thing is, he came up big in the finals. He still was the best player on the floor, though. So who cared? And you know what? He was so good at his position that they said it's him and everybody else. Now, I'm coming with a better argument. Because wherever you're coming, oh yeah, and by the way, yeah, I was in the finals, but it wasn't like he didn't go against a guy like Sidney Moncrief. He was dominant. I think that's the part you forget. He was dominant. Regardless of what you face, you dominated what you had in front of you. Joe Dumars was not chopped liver. It was dominant. He dominated. Let me put it to you like this. Kevin Durant's more closer to LeBron James than whoever you want to put next to Jordan, be it Kobe. And that's a fact. That's a fact. And for the record, Kobe, Durant, Jordan was better. And remember the triangle offense. And remember that is five integral parts that you moving with and without the ball. So Jordan would have been fine. Um, Hornacek wasn't no bum. I never said KD was over Curry. I have Curry ahead of him. But my point is I'm gonna say this: Jordan defied his position because what you're not addressing, since you want to be revisionist historian without actually bringing factual. They said a two guard couldn't lead the league in scoring. They said you couldn't win without a big man. They said you couldn't dominate. They said you couldn't even get to the finals, let alone win. He defied logic. Who was a bum? Hornacek wasn't no bum. That white boy, 16, 17 points, would be good today. I'm going to tell you a story about Jeff Hornacek. He was a good player because the guy, well, it was one all-star weekend. Me and my homeboy was cracking up. Hornacek was in the three-point contest and the skills contest. If he had any spring in his behind, he would have been in the dunk contest. He was multi-talented. He left Philadelphia and fit in with Utah. Now, I know he looked like Leave It to Beaver and all clean and all shucks and prim and happy days. Hornacek wasn't no, was good. He was good. He was a good player. And he was a pretty good defender too. Yeah, Mr. Off the bench. I like Detlef, but he wasn't better than Hornacek. Because what did he do with Seattle? They had a rotation guard rotation with GP McNeilin and them, and they still had him as a six man. George Karl, who was pretty clever and manipulative with using his guards, got 16, 17 out of Detlef. Not enough to quite be his starter. Detlef was nice, but no one is sitting around having Detlef going to the Hall of Fame. So if you 10 times better, that's saying that you're headed towards who? Peja Starkovich level, who you can make that case about, who was MVP kind of consideration, or Dirk Nowitzki. Detlef is not that guy. So stop that nonsense. I'm not going for that. I watched Detlef Shrimp play. He averaged about almost the same as Hornacek, except Hornacek was more of a starter, and he did. Detlef was not cracking with that. I know. I got a video coming about that tomorrow. That's what my video going to be, and I'm going to do my take on it. And Lenny Kravitz's cousin, so. And there's this kumbaya type of thing. You know, I'm doing that one tomorrow about old Al. Old Al. And by the way, Al has a black wife and children. So before people come at me and say, well, no. The sellout's a sellout. Sellout's a sellout. People like this narrative that you can't possibly be all chocolate city and not have white and see your white teeth and not. I wouldn't think you know what? In the 90s, he would have a hard time making it. 80s would have been interesting. Depends on, let me say this to you, genius, because you didn't get to see it. Coaches were different back then, yo. And you had all kinds of shapes and sizes. Yeah. And see, LeBron never had a coach like a Pat Riley who would, or 90s when they got, you think the guys in the 90s weren't thick and big? No Diddy. I gotta say that because that's what they used to say. He was a shooter. He could shoot, but he was third tier. No one looked at Rex Chapman and thought he was an all-star. And he wasn't dominating in Phoenix. Cooked him how? Oh yeah, Rex Chapman got that ring. Yeah. Let me tell you a story. Do you know how many games Michael Jordan averaged winning in the 90s? So yes, you're bound to get him a couple nights. But the man was flirting. Yeah. And did the Indiana Pacers want Rex Chapman? Did the New York Knicks want Rex Chapman? Did the Orlando Magic want Rex Chapman? Mullen was kind of an old man though by the time he went with the Pacers. You didn't catch the best of him like he was in the 80s with Run TMC. And even they couldn't come out the West. I don't again, you don't realize how tough it was with dominant teams. Now in the 90s it was a different style, but still, they didn't beat the Bulls. He was not the same dude he was when he got to Pacers. Didn't beat the Bulls. You can cook somebody. Does that necessarily mean that you're better than somebody? See, that's the point you're missing. He might have cooked him, but he didn't have to go against that every night now, did he? And for the record, Jay Will, there's types of teams that LeBron James still has a hard time beating. The Nugget style. You ever notice if you put a big bodies on him, perimeter defense, he doesn't look too good. 10 years ago against the Spurs. 2007 against the Spurs. There's a pattern and a blueprint how to stop LeBron James. Listen, LeBron could make it. Would he be as successful? That's two different entities. And when I say make it, I'm talking about winning chips. Because they weren't stockpiling teams unless they got old in the 90s, by the way. When Charles got with Hakeem and Pippen, all they were old men. They didn't do that they do now. See, you got to understand the logic of what you say. Yeah, he could have probably played, but stockpiling teams up, he got to the finals. Those guys got to the finals. They were a runner-up team. Just like Allen Iverson got to the finals 2001. Runner-up team. Now, what's your point? And Iverson was a better high volume scorer too. No excuses made. So why is it for LeBron? He did. He did. Some people may say all four of his rings are gifted because you could say that the 2012 season was a half season. Some could say that the against with Ray Allen don't make that shot. So there you go. That was not a super team. That was not a super team. Jordan and Pippen were together. Robin came along. Robin was basically bought for a pack of now latest and some Kool-Aid packages because there was a one-sided deal. He didn't win in San Antonio with Dave Robinson. So what are you talking about? He had to redeem himself in San Antonio and get himself kicked out. Tony Kukoc was not that dominant. Not that dominant. Kerr. Kerr made a shot. Yeah, you supposed to. What's your point? If. We can say if about everybody. We can say if about every situation. We can point ifs all the time we want, but they did make those shots. There's ifs everywhere. But that doesn't take the fact that Michael Jordan was a dominant, great player in the finals. Doesn't take a fact now he's 6 for 6, finals MVP, best player on the floor. And the team won by him leading the way. And who did LeBron James say, I'm chasing that ghost in Chicago? Remember that quote, J. Will, before you talk. Chasing that ghost. And it's not even close. But I like how stuff gets romanticized. I'm gonna be on here for 10 more minutes, so let's get it. I got 10 more minutes. Make it count. Well, getting Rodman was part of the three-headed monster because they lost. No, Grant. The thing about it is they lost Horace. That was when they beat Orlando beat Chicago. They hosted Horace Grant out. They had to get a power forward to go along with their centers to go against Shaq. Shaq was that much of a force, so they got the right piece to connect. I don't understand what that means to you. And you're football related, and I got to figure that out. But I'm gonna address this one real quick. Um, they got Rodman, and it was integral, but they had the right pieces in place too. But Michael Jordan was very motivated, and remember, 72-10. Keep that in mind when you're up here trying to diss somebody. Remember, 72-10. That's what they did. That was motivation. He had to hear it. He ran it. He used it like fuel for the fire. That's what Jordan did. Oh, JJ Watt talking about the Houston team. Well, I'm not going to address that. I mean, on paper, but we don't do paper in the NFL because paper don't mean nothing. It looked good, but we got to see how it plays out fruition. I do get it because I know I'm not arguing that, and I hold Rodman in high regards. But it's not like Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman would tell you that Michael Jordan was a better player. Now you're gonna get that. And he wasn't afraid of LeBron. You're gonna get that. And if you ask Rodman, ask Ron Harper. They seen him. So you can sit there and deny all you want. It's first of all, let me tell you something, Ted. The refs ain't gonna be no factor in the Wolves and Nuggets. It's not gonna be a factor. It's gonna come down to making plays. It's gonna come down to who can impose their will. The Timberwolves imposed their will. If you run Jokic off his sweet spot, and if you make KCP have to make shots, all it's going to do is you get at him. Like I said, you ghost blitz him. Well, because you had 500 more free throws than the rest of the league for a playing tournament team, that kind of raises eyebrows of suspension. That tends to where LeBron is. That's why it becomes a thing. This is the other thing. Joker should have had 10 free throw attempts too. Okay. We're gonna go there. He should have. He didn't get called. He didn't get his free throws against y'all in that last game. 27-9 is embarrassing. That was suspect. So yeah. If we were in a fair NBA, then I wouldn't have bring it up. See, the thing is this. Y'all got to get all that help, and you're still 500. And he still got knocked out in the first round. And you're 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seed team. There you go. Why all the free throws when you're not really a power play team? Anthony Davis and LeBron ain't Shaquille O'Neal. So there's no reason why they should be getting all those free throw attempts. Y'all sitting up here acting like D'Lo and Reeves is like John Morant trying to posterize and hang on the rim from the guard spot. They're not those dudes. That's why. But, well, you might be, see how that turned out. I'm going to address that one after game one. I'm not impressed. They beat them. They beat a Clippers team they're supposed to beat. I love it. I don't have no problem with it because it's like I'm dealing with JJ Redick. We're gonna call him JJ Will Redick. I don't mind. That might be JJ Redick in disguise for all you know, because he been watching my videos. So I'm gonna call him JJ Will Redick. I don't mind. I like it. I'm not gonna run nobody off as long as they don't be disrespectful, and as long as they don't say anything vulgar or offend nobody. I have no problem with. And listen, he brings up some interesting points. I'm gonna give where credit is due. He brings some things he brings up. Oh, come on now. That's cheap, Ted. That's cheap. That's my team. He hates in English, y'all. In English, he hates. I hate the Nuggets, and I really don't like that new start. Ant and the Timberwolves. That's what that means. And I ain't got no real respect for OKC because I think Shea's a one man team, and I'm not. I know what Ted is saying. I get it because Luca is your continuation of LeBron and Kyrie's old friends. I get it. I get it. I get it. I ain't mad at you. I don't blame you. Because I'm going to tell you something. They are a fun team to watch. But, and we're going to see if those free agent moves mean anything. But having said all that, I don't think they're in the same weight class as Denver and Minnesota. Yeah, but the problem with fun is that they let James Harden beat their behind up. And Paul George did too. And I'm gonna tell you something. You can't do that when you play against certain type of teams. But I will say this though. If I'm Adam Silver, I want Dallas and Boston in the finals. If I can't get Denver. Yeah. But I don't care if he gets in or not. But yeah, he'll get in. He got a ring. He been in 2 finals. There was a time begrudgingly they would not say yes. Because him and David Stern had it out back in the day, but that was a whole different era. That was a different era. That's when you had some owners where they was questioning Stern, and that was hilarious. That ain't happening no more though. That was a different time. I missed that time because that was fun. Cuban was crazy too. He questioned Stern, and Stern couldn't stand him. It was hilarious. That ain't happening no more though. None of these owners today are gonna buck the system. But Cuban was real feisty and fiery and didn't like nobody. So, yeah. Anyway, I've been on for like almost an hour and a half. I'm gonna wrap it up in just a couple minutes. I respected him as an owner and what he brought to the culture to an extent. I mean, his extracurricular activity in the stands would not be tolerated today per se, even though his daughter was all on LeBron and all that. But that was a different. Well, it's not that different because Donald Sterling had his mistress and his wife across the court, so they still do what they do. And I'm sure there's still players doing what they do. You know, got that kind of money and that lifestyle, you pretty much do what you want to do. I'm sure there's still someone doing it, but that was a different time when. Then plus they were bringing it. They were bringing a lifestyle at that time that wasn't. You know. Yeah. Well, he needed all the company he could get. But Lord knows where are they on his arms now? Because they got nothing but time. We ain't got no cameras, so are they cuddling up? They should be cuddling. I'm sure they right about now, cuddling watching Cleveland, Orlando in the playoffs, cuddling tomorrow to watch Dallas and OKC. So they can be all cuddly. Get their matching pajamas and their big snuggle pillow cases and watch the playoffs. They got nothing but time till he got to go to the Olympics for another month. So they can all have pillows, pajamas, and tea time. They got plenty of time. Hey, you brought it up, so you stepped into that one. Man, they want to be all snuggly. Get some snuggle robes together and get all snuggly. I mean, sure Jay Moore, her husband, and Kurt Rambis don't mind because we got to keep our prize. Kunta Kinte Toby here. We're gonna draft his son. That's what they do. I'm just gonna keep it 100. People don't like it. I gotta call it like I see it. Pretty much chocolate chips and dip, marshmallows and chocolate chips. Dip them in. See what happens. Rachel Nichols was like, "Oh, that's all right." I have never ever had a job where I got to snuggle with two white female bosses. I want that job. I want them to snuggle in my arms and I can just feel all warm and fuzzy. And I skip my day of work when I'm not over there with my coworkers. Ain't that something? AD up there sweating, best player on the team, allegedly. He ain't get no snuggling when he's in street clothes. I didn't see him with them shades on, look like Lenny Kravitz, and they all snuggling. I didn't see that. How come they didn't snuggle D-Lo when he was texting? Were they texting him with some OnlyFans shots? Did Jenny and Linda have some OnlyFans where he's had that big old Easter egg up there on the scoreboard and he's maybe that's what he was doing. He was liking there. He was DMing them. I'm gonna blame it on the DM. When we talking about LeBron, I never saw Michael Jordan have two white owners snuggling him on the sidelines. They show ain't. They show ain't. They don't even snuggle Jarvis Hayes, who's known for snuggling people, snuggle your neck out. But anyway, I'm gonna leave Hayes alone. But anyway, I'm just saying. So before, no, no, because they was over there doing business. I mean, that's what they do. It's just a point. We're in the era of cancel culture, Me Too, and all this crap, and he's over there all getting cuddled when his team is barely a playoff team. See, sometimes Jay Will, you got to know when to stay out of it. That's one of them to stay out of. Yeah, that was funny. That was fun because what was the purpose of that when you're barely a five? You're not even. You were a playing team. That's how I know the Laker culture done gone to the toilets. That mess never would have flown when Pat Riley or Phil Jackson was there. Never, never, never. He married her out there, and I'm not. But he had these two women snuggling him on his day where he couldn't participate with shades on. What does that look like? And he's getting preferential treatment. If you're the head coach, what does that look like? Let's use some common sense, shall we? Your head coach is being overridden by your player because the owner and the assistant is snuggling him. Well, you want to go personal. You want to go personal. I'm talking about on the court. If they want to embrace him, that's one thing. But he was in street clothes as an employer to an employee. That's the point. That's the point that's being made here. That's the point that's being made on company time. And I'm not saying they can't embrace him, but what are they embracing? Your team is a playing tournament team. He hates him because he never, well, for one thing, he'll never be the player he was on and off the court. But I'm not going personal with LeBron. I only went because that was brought up. And they did it for everybody to see. Well, he was snuggling. And he was on company time. And he wasn't with his teammates. And his coach got fired. Now you put one and one together, and you tell me what that makes. What does that make? We ain't gonna talk about Shannon Sharp got in trouble for all that mess last year with Memphis and all that starting stuff. See, because you what you're doing is that you're making LeBron is they doing these things which don't really have any place to do them. And I don't really care. I don't care. If you want my honest opinion, I don't care. I don't care LeBron his relationships with people. Uh, they were 33 and 49 before he got there as a coach. Make that go away. They got to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the team who was champs. He had to go? Really? Really? 33-49 2 years ago? Ask Ted that. Make it math, make it count. Gotta get you to the Western Conference Finals. 2.5 team. Your so-called best player is known as street clothes into this past year. Make it make sense. Take care of him, Ted. Because, see, You got to have better arguments than that. A tomato can, huh? You're 33 and 49. LeBron James, y'all had as many wins as LeBron James was averaging for his points per game because he was going to try to get a cheap scoring title. Think I forgot? Frank Vogel put everything in place about Russell Westbrook and he still got fired for it. 33-49. Make it make sense. Well, if it's about winning rings, how come he didn't let Anthony Davis go for 40 points in game two when they had a 20-point lead? Why? Why he got to sneak up? Thank you. Make it make sense. Vogel actually had everything right with the Lakers, too. He wanted Westbrook to come off the bench. No, you're not. Because if you were expected to be best in the world, he's supposed to have Anthony Davis as the best in the world. Uh, they went to the Western Conference Finals, lost to the team that was the champs. How's that underperforming? Lost to a better team and to the best player. You know what they say: best player, best team wins. How is that embarrassing? You act like the Lakers got beat by the Pelicans. He do, and he got free throws too. You act like LeBron got beat by an in-season Rockets team or Sacramento or Portland or something. He lost to a team that is legit. Jokic is the best player going today. So let's stick to 2024, shall we? Jokic is a better player than LeBron James is today. It's not up for discussion. We're not talking all time, but I do think he does better all around play. I got 2009, 2010, and game four of 2015. And if you want to get technical, he nearly choked away game six in 2013 if Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot because he turned the ball over multiple times in the last 6 minutes, if you want to be so technical. You ain't dealing with somebody who just pulling out analytics out there behind. I got games and memories here, yo. And LeBron James has got his flaws. And he choked 2009 against Orlando. Quit against Ball. Got called a quitter by his owner, which you will never address. And of course, 2011, game six in the finals, which he almost blew. Ray Allen hit that shot. And then you go into 2015, game four in Cleveland. Okay. I gave you 5 hot takes. And also not coming prepared in the finals against the Spurs, as Ted so elegantly pointed out, where he couldn't come up. And Tony Parker was the finals MVP, not Tim Duncan, a point guard who was trade bait just 4 years ago almost for Jason Kidd, comes up and came up bigger. I'm going to drop the mic. And they did not beg calls in the finals. They competed. They got outbeat. They came back more mad and more meticulous. LeBron sits up there and blames everybody, crying every time. Oh, the refs don't like me. Oh, the center webcam is off. The cheerleaders' pom poms ain't right. The lights are off. Everything is wrong. He didn't choke in the 96 finals. Did they win? No one has ever said Michael Jordan choked in the finals but you. He's lost in playoffs. He never blames everybody. No one ever said, Jordan, how are you going to choke when you're the finals MVP and you won? And you were perfect in the finals. That doesn't even make logical sense. He lost on Orlando team. And he was hurt most of those years too. And he was an old man, and that's a fact. Different NBA too. They were not one of the best teams, and they were not going to win a title against the Lakers. So even if he takes that team to the playoffs and gets deep, he's not winning the finals. Let's get that straight. And that's not no lineup to get excited about. Oh yeah, Gilbert Arenas, get his jersey retired everywhere he goes. Oh yeah, Gilbert Arenas, the Kanye West of quotes. No one remembers Gilbert Arenas' career. He had that 60-point game against the Lakers where even Phil Jackson and Kobe said he shot the ball too much. And what did Gilbert Arenas exactly do? Where's his rings at? I don't mind you being a contrarian, but you better be a good contrarian. You better come up with some facts. You didn't bring no facts there. I'm gonna get ready to go. I've been on. We got it. I gotta get make this move. But anyway, let me just say the usual. He talks crazy. He talks like Kanye. He talks like a spy. He talks like he on some drugs. Some of the stuff he say, he just be saying. He's entertaining for a couple of laughs, but then he starts some of the most dumbest stuff. So yeah, come back tomorrow. I don't mind you being on because I like a good debate if you're gonna bring it. But this was, you know, whatever. Peace out. Appreciate you. Thank you all for coming through. We got some good fire in here. Let's keep on bringing it. I'm with that. I'm down with it. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay up. Appreciate everybody. Right on. Peace.